This is a podcast all about Bears. You either cheering for this team or just pulling your hair. I like to take a minute, just sit right back and tell you how I became the #1 Bears fan. That boy is Benny Hunter. Cake on the mic, cake on the mic, cake on the mic, cake on the mic. People, this the intro. Sacramento, California, born and raised. And Antelope is where I spend most of my days. Talk bad about my team, you must be a clown. This is Keek on the mic, so you know you better bear down. Bear down, bear down.
Hey, what's going on, Bears fans? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Keek on the Mic, the podcast all about the Chicago Bears. Like always, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. So, I'm going to have a lot of fun coming out and telling you guys this report right here on the podcast. I think we're going to have a really, really good conversation today here on Keek on the Mic, as the report out of Chicago is this. Ex-Super Bowl champ can't get enough of the Bears offensive line. Obviously, coming into the season, that was the huge storyline for the Chicago Bears, right? Experts were convinced that this Chicago Bears offensive line was going to be absolutely terrible. They said this line had no talent and no direction, which obviously was true, right? Last year, the Bears offensive line was terrible. Ryan Poles comes in, an offensive line guy, right? And tries to revamp this whole offensive line with a bunch of young guys. Added guys like Lucas Patrick, right? Drafted Braxton Jones in the 5th round. So obviously, the doubters weren't convinced too much on this Chicago Bears offensive line. So imagine the doubters' faces when the Bears rushed for over 460 yards in the past 2 weeks of this NFL season. And to add to that, Bears fans, and this is an absolutely crazy stat. Through 3 weeks of this NFL season, the Chicago Bears have the second best running game in the entire NFL. And that is all credit to this Chicago Bears offensive line and their success, how well they've been blocking for these Bears running back. And obviously, this success has already been noticed by many people, but one person in particular went on to the Pat McAfee Show, and that is A.Q. Shipley, a former center that played in the NFL for over a decade and is the current Super Bowl champion of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers back in 2020. Obviously, Shipley had an excellent career at center, so he definitely knows what it takes to be a part of a really good offensive line. And once again, he appeared on the Pat McAfee Show, and the Super Bowl champion discussed some of the top moments in Week 3, and he came away stunned at how impressive the Chicago Bears offensive line looked, especially on the ground. This is what he had to say on the Pat McAfee Show. Check this out.
Bears got an unbelievable run game. Unbelievable run game. They lost their starting running back, David Montgomery.
Miss you, Montgomery.
And we get Herbert in at tailback. Check this out. They're going to motion Cole Kmet, Notre Dame, across the formation. Now you can see everything. It's a clear picture. That is the fullback's guy. That is the fullback's guy. We're going to get some form of a reach block here, and then they're going to work to him. These two are going to work out. We get a slip block here. Now check this out. Let this thing play and watch this hole. Wow! Oh, what a hole!
Big one, my goodness.
We get the kick out with the fullback there. This thing is a big hole.
Big gaping hole.
Herbert's one-on-one with the safety. What's he going to do? Make him miss.
See ya.
Make him miss.
See ya.
Gets chased down. Go back to the beginning real quick. I'll just hit on some different blocks real quick, especially in the zone scheme versus gap scheme.
Oh, yeah.
Gap scheme and zone scheme have two completely different. We are on.
That's not the beginning.
Nope, here we go. Let it, yep, exactly, go across. So just so you understand what I'm talking about, center and guard front side's a single. Guard tackle front side, double. Tackle tight end front side, triple. On the back side, we got a scoop and a slip right here.
Scoop.
Scoop. So right here, we got a slip because he's right here between the guard and the tackle. We got a slip. Front side, we got a single. That's your combination blocks on the front side of the zone. Watch.
Did that make any sense to you?
No.
Just if you hear me say single, that's all. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, it's
we get
one
the
on
single
one.
here. We get the slip here. Those are the combination
What's
blocks.
a slip block mean?
Slip block is guard and tackle, basically comboing this guy up to a linebacker.
Oh, it's because one's slipping off.
Exactly. Same thing. Single would be here up to this linebacker, but in this case, I think he goes out. He just reaches the center. Boom. Exactly. Now he's up on the backer. We're out on the front side. Fullback seal here. Let it run just a tad, then pause it. Boom. Pause it.
Oh my God. That's beautiful.
Big hole.
It's beautiful.
Beautiful. Moving
That's
on to
what
the
we're
next one.
looking for, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is what you
Big
want.
ones.
If you can have this guy with 15 feet with nobody near him,
That's the
offensive
game.
line did their job.
Hey,
And obviously, Bears fans, I absolutely agree with Shipley, especially the clip that he showed on the Pat McAfee Show. You can clearly see the humongous hole that the Bears offensive line opened up for Khalil Herbert. Obviously, they've been doing that for the last couple of weeks. They've been demonstrating their will on anybody they wanted to, and they've been able to run the football super effectively because of the Chicago Bears O-line. So we have to get them kudos in terms of the running game. But obviously, it hasn't been all pretty for this Chicago Bears offensive line due to the inconsistent pass protection. Obviously, there has been times where the Chicago Bears offensive line has given Justin Fields a little bit of time, but obviously right now the passing game is just not working. But in terms of the running game, AQ Shipley showed it right there on the Pat McAfee Show. Look how big that hole was for Khalil Herbert, and they have been doing that on multiple occasions for the last couple of weeks, which is a big reason why the Bears are the second best running game in the league after 3 weeks. But once again, I can agree that it has not been all pretty, but overall, this offensive line does deserve a lot of credit on what they have been able to do on the ground. And Ryan Poles, I have to give him kind of a lot of credit too. And he has been able to put together an offensive line of big and strong dudes that bring a nasty mentality to the offensive line, right? And this is the identity that Ryan Poles wanted for the Bears offensive line, right? A line built with violence, a line built with aggression, and a line built with mobility. Guys that are athletic, right? Obviously, when you look at guys like Lucas Patrick, when you guys look at guys like Tevin Jenkins, obviously, when you look at guys like Braxton Jones, they all have that thing in common, right? They have the violence, they have that nasty aggression, and they have good mobility. And right now, it's working, especially on the ground game. So we have to give the offensive line credit. And once again, like I said, you can already see this on tape through the first 3 weeks of the NFL season. And personally, they will only get better with time. Obviously, the passing attack is not as good as the rushing attack. But guess what? If the running game keeps going the way it's going, and they're opening up big holes and we're just killing people with the run, guess what? The passing game will eventually open up. And the reason why I say the offensive line will get better with time is because I strongly believe that once Lucas Patrick is at full-time center and once Tevin Jenkins is at full-time right guard, the offensive line will improve. Once again, I've never been a big fan of Sam Mustipher at center. I truly feel like he will be a decent backup, but I just don't think Sam Mustipher should be starting at center. Obviously, Lucas Patrick starting at center brings that nastiness and that mobility and that violence at center. Obviously, Tevin Jenkins has looked really good at right guard when he gets the opportunity to play at right guard, but obviously, Lucas Patrick and Tevin Jenkins have been switching, so it will be nice when Lucas Patrick is at full-time center and Tevin Jenkins was at full-time right guard, and I think just by making that simple switch, the offensive line will be that much better with those two guys at those two respective spots. So once again, this offensive line will continue to get better, but I really do feel that they deserve the respect to start the season. Obviously, they had some tough matchups against the 49ers defensive line. Obviously, Green Bay has a much improved defensive line, and they handled business in the running game in both of those games. Obviously, when you look at the Texans defense, not that good of a defensive line, but they took advantage of the Texans' weaknesses. And obviously, Khalil Herbert had a really good game due to the excellent blocking of this Chicago Bears offensive line. All we can hope for now is that turns that running game helps the passing attack, and hopefully the pass blocking gets much improved, which I feel like it will in the next couple of weeks as the offensive line continues to play together. Overall, the Bears offensive line definitely deserves their kudos, and I'm excited to see this offensive line improve in the next couple of weeks, and hopefully we can get the pass game going, and I truly feel like it will in these next couple of weeks. Before I let you guys go, how do you guys feel about the Chicago Bears offensive line so far? Let me know down below in the comment section. Before I let you guys go, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms. Make sure you share this episode of Geek on the Mic with every single Bears fan that you know. But other than that, I'll be back for our all new Bears podcast right here on Geek on the Mic. Thanks, guys, and bear down.
You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the mic. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the mic. You can go and subscribe, cause I be on it right. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the mic.